Okay, now I'll come to the main topic of this particular lesson, and one that I get questions about all the time, and that is muted legato technique. So what is muted legato technique? So to put it simply, we're muting with the right hand, and this is standard palm muting technique. So your right hand, the side of your right hand presses against the strings to give a muted sound. So it's the same principle. We're using the right hand to mute the strings on this side, and then instead of picking, okay, we hammer on. We're using left hand only technique. And it's very, very effective, and it's something that I've been doing for quite some time now, and I absolutely love the sound of it. It's a great sound, and it adds some real interest to solos when you incorporate it into your solo playing. So I love the sound of it. So I'm going to show you exactly my approach to muted legato technique. Okay. One thing that's extremely important is, I'm going to start off with this, is the amount of gain that we're using. I mean, you should be able to do this with a clean tone. I've used it many a time with clean tone, and it works absolutely fine. You should be able to do it unamplified, in actual fact. You know, so if it doesn't work unamplified, it's never going to work when you're plugged into an amp. So this technique will work whether using clean or gain. However, the amount of gain that you use really can affect that sound of the muted legato technique. If you're using too little gain, you can lose clarity with it. If you're using too much gain, it just sounds bloody awful, to be honest, and it doesn't have the desired effect. What I find is that I've got to find the sweet spot with the tone, and the way that I'll do that is I'll use the volume control of the guitar. So here it is all the way up. Now, if I position my right hand, I mean, that sounds okay, but it's not quite as clear as it could be, you know. So if I roll the volume off, so I'm on about 6 or 7 at the moment. Listen to the difference there. So much clearer, every single note is audible. But it's also got that lovely, it's got that lovely palm muted sound to it. So this is what we have to work on with this technique, is finding the balance between how much gain you've dialed in and how the position that is the sweet spot with the volume control of your guitar. Okay, you can obviously, you know, program whatever you're using, make settings on your amp or whatever it is that you're using for your sound, so that when you go full volume on the guitar, you've got just the right amount of gain. So you can do that. Saves you having to mess around with the volume control, but I love messing around with the volume control to find that sweet spot, and I think it's good practice to do that. So up full volume and then down to, for me, I would say between 5 and 7, depending on how much gain that I'm using. I tend to go with the flow. It's very much a feel thing, you know, but that's kind of a rough guide of how I do it. So yeah, tone is extremely important, and the amount of gain that you use when you're using muted legato technique is also extremely important.